Welcome back to Stroke of Luck. I'm Tack, and today we're going to be painting a Blood Angels Terminator Squad. A huge thank you to all of my new subscribers. You guys are freaking awesome. We are getting super close to hitting 100 subs, so I had to do something special this week, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I started off with a white zenithal using white ink over black primer. Next up, I airbrushed a 1-to-1 mix of Scarlet Red and Bloody Red. After that, it was time for some black. I started off by hitting all the guns with multiple coats to build up the opacity. After that, it was time for the bodysuit. You can't forget about that undercarriage. I took my time to avoid messing up that beautiful red base coat. I did all the fingers on the power fists, and then while my black was fresh, I hit all of the bases. Next up, it was time for some metallics. I mixed up some metallic medium and black until I got a nice gunmetal color, and then I hit all the Stormbolter barrels. I also hit the hoses on the arm and only a few sections of the chassis, just so that it looked like some sort of hydraulic pumps. I painted the power sword, and then I hit the bits on the face mask, as well as the headlights. Next up, it was time for some gold. I started with some rich gold from Pro Acryl. I like this gold a lot better than the game color polished gold that I have. I started off with the wings on the shoulder pads, making sure to avoid hitting the blood gems. After that, I hit the hilt on the sword, and I also painted the bits on the bolters. Next, I very carefully painted the gold settings for the blood gems and the rest of the dangly bits. After that, I switched to some game color polished gold for all of the Aquillas. I'm growing to despise this gold, but I wanted to have a little bit of variation. I've only been painting for 2 months, so I wanted to do a little experimentation. I used some just straight up metallic medium to highlight the wing on the sergeant's shoulder pad. It didn't look like what I envisioned in my head, but it's all part of the game. It's always good to do a little bit of experimentation, and I don't think it looked like complete shit either, so I was a little bit happy about it. Next, I took some blood red to start the highlights on the blood gems. It was very subtle, but it was there. After that, I mixed in some sun yellow until I got a nice orange, and I glazed this on at the bottom, attempting to do a little bit of blending. Then I used some dead white to add some dots on the top for a little bit of sheen. To give it a little more brightness, I added a glaze of some ice yellow at the bottom of the orange highlight. I also gave the same treatment to this blood vial. Next, I used some model color Ivory to paint the crux terminatus. This stuff is a lot smoother than the dead white, so I've been using it any chance I get, but I will say I needed to add 2 to 3 thin coats just to get a good opacity. After that, it was time for the eyes. I hit the eyes with some electric blue, then I added a little white to bring in some highlights. After that, I added some more white to the mix and added just a dot. Next up, I used some Ivory to paint the purity seals. I feel like the off-white really helps sell the aged look. I also painted and highlighted the wax the same way I did the eyes with our electric blue mixtures. I also gave the same treatment to the headlamps. Next, I thinned down our black to a wash consistency and shaded all of the recesses and the crux terminatus. I also used this same black wash on all of the gold and metal pieces. I feel like this really made the details pop. I tried my best to control the pulling so it didn't leave any nasty streaks or puddle marks. These Terminators were looking pretty nice, but I wanted to add some more highlights. I used some metallic medium to give a few random edge highlights to all of the guns for a more pronounced wear and tear. Then I mixed down some black and some ice yellow to highlight the fingers on all the power fists. Some of them came out a little chunkier than the others, but hey, fat highlights need love too. Next I went in with some bag of bones thinned down with some Xpress Medium to add some grime to all the purity seals, as well as this little skull. After that I took a sponge and blotted on some of our black and ice yellow mixture. I used this on all the Crux Terminatus because they're supposed to be made of stone, so I wanted to give them a little bit of texture. After that I mixed down some Scarlet Red and some Leather Brown. I went around adding some edge highlights similar to what Cult of Paint did on his Terminator video. After that dried, I added some of our gunmetal mix to the highlights, trying my best to make it look like battle damage. Then I used a micron pen for all the scripting on the purity seals. I tried to draw a blood drop here, but it came out looking a little bit like a turd. I realized I forgot about all these bullet casings, so I went back in with some rich gold to bring these to life. Next I dry brushed all the weapons with our gunmetal mix. I know I did edge highlights already, but this helps add a little bit of variation to the weathering. Now it was time for the bases. I laid down a sloppy coat of Acryl and Earth for the crackle factor. This stuff makes bigger cracks the thicker it is, so if you're going to use this stuff, keep that in mind. Once that dried, I went in with our black wash and I soaked all of the crackled earth. After that, I dry brushed on some of our gray mixture, and I added a little bit of white with every coat just to bring up the highlights, for a total of 3 coats. Once the bases were looking nice and rocky, I rimmed the bases in apple barrel gloss black. Once that was done, you know I had to add a few wasteland tufts. I feel like the tufts really bring these bases to life, and I can't get enough of them. Now it was time to ride the lightning. I started with a mix of electric blue and ultramarine blue. I painted the rod and then I started sketching out a lightning pattern on the sword. I went in with dead white and tried my best to stay inside of the blue. This part didn't have to be perfect, but I still wanted it to look good. Next I watered down our blue mix and I glazed it over the lightning pattern. It was looking pretty good, but I wanted it to look great. I thinned down some Hydra Turquoise and did a glaze over the entire sword, and then I went back in with some white on just the brightest points. After that, I started bending some hobby wire to look like a lightning bolt. I copied this technique from El Miniaturista. That guy is freaking amazing. Once I liked the way it looked, I glued it onto the model. I went in with some white, Hydra Turquoise, and our blue mix to glaze over the wire. I wanted to make sure there was a lot of white so it looked brighter. Then I got out the airbrush and sprayed some white ink where I wanted it to look the absolute brightest. After that, I used some Hydra Turquoise to finish up the OSL. And the key here is to turn the PSI on your airbrush down to around 10 and be very gentle with the trigger so you don't blast the entire model with overspray. After that, I added some more white just for the brightness. Now it was time to heat up this gun barrel. I used some thinned down white ink to go into all of the recesses, and I made sure to stay at just the tip. I could have done better avoiding the overspill, but it's okay. Next, I sprayed some more white ink through the airbrush, followed by a nice Kraft mac and cheese orange that I mixed down with blood red and sun yellow. slowly building up the saturation until I liked the way it looked. After that, I added some red to the mix and gave the end of the barrel another light coat. Next, I dry brushed bloody red onto the outside of the barrel, followed by a dry brushing of some black with a little metallic medium mixed in. Finally, I added sun yellow to just the hottest points, and off camera, I highlighted it with a mix of sun yellow and ivory, then I finished with a coat of AK Ultra Matte varnish. Now it's time for the final reveal. If you like this video, please smash that like button and make sure to subscribe. I appreciate all the support and love that you guys have been showing me lately, and I also wanted to give a huge shout out to Sam at Reforged Armies. This guy has been helping me every step of the way since I'm so new to the hobby, and he's just made sure to give me good advice with no judgment. That dude is ace. You should go check out his videos. Let me know in the comments what you think, and as always, thank you for watching.